good morning, good morning. I'm so sorry. I had to make a cup of coffee this morning. And you think that it's made very quickly. I use a Keurig. 1 cup at a time. White Sox, find somewhere to go, buddy. You done already got yelled at 3 times this morning. So I apologize for the delay. But we were up late and then up early. White Sox. I realize you want to be the co-host, but you gotta find somewhere to be first. Okay, welcome in. Good morning, happy Monday. I don't know what the second song was, but the first song was meant to get me up and popping. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. He wants me to rub on him, but I need to drink a cup of coffee. So, let's do what we always do. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. You could take your time to do anything else, but you are here with me, and I'm very appreciative. Make sure if you're a member of the team, you hit the Daily Heart Me. If you are not a member of the team, stick around, and if you like what you see, join the team by hitting the Daily Heart Me. Gifts are appreciated but not expected. I would do this anyway. And I use the funds to help me continue to bring to you what I bring to you. Please be kind in the comments. Please, if you have an opinion, you disagree with me, you are welcome here. People don't get the automatic block here because they disagree with me. They get the block for being disrespectful. So if you have a differing opinion, you have a different perspective than mine, please ask for the box and come in. Today, I don't have as many people to talk about as normal. So thank you very much for the gifts already, guys. I appreciate it. I have more time, I think, to offer the box to people. That music helped me get going this morning. Good. That's the goal. Because it has been an incredibly long weekend. And I have a lot to say about a few people. And so instead of cramming in a whole bunch of people, I decided to keep the grid light this morning. So let's see. Oh, hello to my mods. Good morning. If everybody isn't following them, can the mods that are here now say hello so everybody can see you and they know you're here? And I suggest that you follow them. Oh, of course. I agree with you about Christina. She's on the grid today. The volume is... Oh, you know what? Is that any better? It's better. Okay, it was what I had the phone on. Normally I have a stand that the MagSafe sticks to, but I couldn't find that this morning, so I'm using a regular holder and it can get in the way. Happy Monday to everybody. So I guess we can get right to the grid. Wait, I have to ask for an apology. I know I have not posted the videos. Everything including this week will be done by this week because my appointments outside of the app, I don't have any this week. So last week it was appointment after appointment after appointment. This week it should be light. So remember, after I say the things I want to say, if any of you would like to get a box and come and offer your opinion, your thought process, as long as it's not doxing in any way or being disrespectful in any way, I'm here for it. Okay, let's show you the grid for today. This is the grid for today. We have Christina, which I think everybody knew she was going to be here. Jordan Paul is quick because this wash, rinse, and repeat. I really want to talk to the people who continue to give her money. Tim and Angela. If you were here on Friday, you know that I said he would be back to beg for money. And what he offered yesterday is ridiculous, but we'll get into it. Then, of course, we have Royal, who I'll talk about it when I get to him. I want to talk about Sheena, and then he would have been a bolo, but a little more research into him, and I realized just straight to the grid, because A, he's a holy roller, and B, he is a Sheena plus a Royal plus a Tim and Angela plus a Carla, all wrapped in one. Wait. Oop. Sorry. I don't even know what I hit there. I was looking to read a comment. Yes, Royal is Black Mamba. Royal is the name he goes by now. So happy to see Chicago brother. Yes, that Robert C is Chicago, brother Chicago. He was introduced to me the other day. Love to Scar, I believe, was streaming him, and I got to learn a little bit. I went in and tried to have a conversation with him, and yeah, it didn't work out. And he's another reset constantly to try to get money. When I tell you, it's like he took the scammer playbook 101 and is trying to employ all of them at the same time. It's ridiculous. And I want to say this. I was in a live. I've been watching a woman. She's at least in her mid 40s. I think she's more like in her mid 50s. I've been watching her for days, and I've watched her beg for several days. And I just want people to understand, like, the mind process I go through. Now, after watching her beg for a few days, you would think, oh, okay, well, she's a beggar. She should at least be a bolo. But she was on in the middle of the night and telling her story. And right now, what she has been begging for is a U-Haul to move out of her slumlord's house into another house. And she got the money together for the first month's rent and the deposit. She had the money to, do whatever she needed to do to transfer all the utilities. She's just asking for a U-Haul. I'm not going to put her up here yet, because she's done everything she could, and now she's at the end. Now, after she gets it and moves in, and several weeks from now, she's finding another reason why to beg for every single thing, that might change. I don't have plans to cover them, but because of open mic, if somebody else has something to offer on Zim, I'd be happy to hear it. So I just want, for people who feel like, oh, she just talks about everybody that's asking for help, or there's no rhyme or reason to the way we do it. There is a rhyme or reason. I actually listen, pay attention, take notes before I decide that somebody's going to. And just because someone else labels somebody a scammer doesn't mean you end up on the grid. And I suggest that everybody have a standard for themselves, because after a while, it will be every single person that asks for a dime, they're going to be here. And that might not be the fairest way to do it. But anyway, I just wanted to explain. Wait, what did Japonica say? $1,000 to move, probably, right? Japonica? Was that what Jim was asking for the money for to move? I thought they was good. Yeah, Chef Carl is back. Yes, she will be. She said for her electric bill, if they pay that electric bill after she played them about the water bill, boo boo the fool. That's all I'm going to say. Anybody that pays a dime towards her electric bill is boo boo the fool. Especially considering she getting ready to move. Be for real. She never put any of it in her name. What are we doing? Good morning. Okay. So y'all didn't just come here to hear me yammer on about who do I want to do first. I'm gonna do Jordan Paul first because no, yeah. Chef Carl came on in a hotel room, still talking about needing the same stuff. It's like, bro, be serious. Okay. Let's talk Royal, or Black Mamba as he's known to most. In fact, I think I got oh no, it's up there. So we all know that Royal has the job, and he seems to consistently get jobs in restaurants, which is cool. I don't care where you work. I just want you to work. And according to him, people are showing up at his job and asking for him directly. Can somebody explain to me why that would make sense? Why would any of us want to show up at his job and ask for him? I heard about her. He was very upset about her. Good morning, good morning. Tavi, he has said enough about his job that it's very easy to figure out. You got wait, I'm not talking about it being an excuse. I'm asking us to look at ourselves and say, what's the purpose? If anybody is doing that, what is the purpose? Because how would we feel if somebody from TikTok showed up at our job? And apparently, this is all alleged, somebody wrote a horrible review for the restaurant and named him specifically, even though he doesn't have any direct contact with the customers. Like, could we be just a little smarter? Queen Becca, I agree. One of the things is that Ghost Boy Roy is spelled two different ways. And then the Ghost Boy Roy times two is the newest account, I believe. Wait, is that the newest one? Or is it X Ghost Boy? Whatever it is, send it to me. Correct, Miss Turtle. If we're saying we want him to stop begging on TikTok, why would we do anything to harm his ability to work? Now, I say that's alleged because I haven't seen proof of it other than a conversation he showed between him and a coworker. but they'll say anything to garner sympathy. Thank you. Wait, what was it? I'm effing Survivor. But can we stop interfering in a way? Like, are we getting off on being able to let somebody know that we know where they are? Because I promise, if they showed up at your front door, it would be a different set of circumstances. You would have a problem with that. But showing up at their jobs, writing false bad reviews with his name in it, even though he doesn't address customers at all, only makes us look silly. Like, we aren't supposed to be stooping to the lowest of ourselves. But again, of course, he's already complaining. Right. Some people do like the drama. And so you do that so you could go run back to your little friends in your Discord or in your group chat and be like, I showed up at his job and I asked for him and he wasn't there and blah, blah. Like, who gets off on that? You don't got nothing better to do? And see, and when I say we, I mean that as a very loose we, because people I associate with, I would hope, don't do that kind of behavior. But again, while I wouldn't like it for myself, and I'm sure most of us wouldn't, he and the rest of them are going to use any excuse. Any excuse. If his job fired him, and he started begging hard for money even further, we'd be here talking about him, right? So why did try to interfere in the job he has? Now, I learned my lesson that he feels like the money he earns should go in his wallet and everybody else should still be paying his way. I think that behavior is egregious enough already. It's egregious enough already. We don't need to add to it. Our goal should be to slow down his money. That's it. Our goal should be to highlight the inconsistencies, the poor behavior, the nasty, inappropriate behavior. And say to people, if he's working and he's been working as long as he said he's been working, he shouldn't need your money for an Uber ride. He shouldn't have an attitude, especially for people who have helped him, past and present, especially if he expects them to help in the future. His piss poor attitude needs an adjustment. And the only way it's going to get adjusted is if the money stops. Period. But for me, that should be enough. But I guess, I'm in the wrong. He acts like the world owes him everything. I agree 100%. So he comes on, and of course, he is smug as all get out, which irks my nerves. I think I have a picture of him being smug too. I don't think I edited it though. This was his smug look, right? As he tells this story about how he claims that the managers at his job decided that if anybody walks in and asks for him by name, that they're not going to tell him anything. They're not going to acknowledge it. They're not going to even bother him with it. That they're going to have them seated, ordered, and served, while at the same time calling the police and then having the police escort them out. On my worst day, you wouldn't catch me in that restaurant to make a fool out of myself. On my worst day. And I'm gonna go there just to be. Hold on. Why I thought this was Brene Sim. Yeah. By the way, as an aside, does anybody know did Brene pay the 40K? She might as well just go ahead and pay it because that Discord information is already gonna have people were already telling her to pack her bags. Does anybody know if she paid the 40K on the first? Well, see, this is the thing about calling the police. Any any company can have you trespassed from their location. And if they tell the police they believe that you're there to stalk one of their employees, you're trespassed. So if you want your name written down in a book that prevents you from attending a place just to mess with Royal, come reach out to me. I have stuff for you to do. I will say it every time. Body shaming, bullying, stalking, cyber stalking is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And 99.5% of us who are serious don't do any of that. Now, they claim that's what we do, but we don't. But don't start it. He also tried to say that he told his managers all about the begging on TikTok. No, I'm sure you didn't. I'm sure you didn't tell them everything about your begging ways on TikTok. Because if they watched your crash outs, if they watched the way you talk to people and treat people when you're inebriated, they might have a problem with you. But okay, you told them that you beg on TikTok. At what point are you going to stop? At what point are you going to take responsibility for yourself? Because that's the problem at this point. No matter what jobs you've had, claimed to have, when you had two jobs, you were still on here on a daily basis begging for money. Or are you Yazzie and believe that there's no limit to the amount of money you should get? I'm waiting for the people in his chat who send him the hotel money and the Uber money back and forth to work while his paycheck goes into a proverbial savings account. When are y'all going to wake up and say, but wait a minute? I go to work every day. I pay my own bills every day. And I'm supposed to pay his too while he stacks his bread? Yeah, no. Uh-uh. And deal with his attitude of saying if you help me. He told one woman to stop speaking in his chat at all if she wasn't sending money. And so as far as I'm concerned, I don't need to ask any questions. I don't need to say anything. I don't need to embellish a single word. Royal is doing it to himself. He is doing the work for us. Let me see what I wrote. I I said he needs to keep his job, so why would we do anything to jeopardize it? But people, he claims, I haven't said anything to indicate to anybody where I work. That's a lie. You have described the back of the house, the managers, the front of the house. It's a grand opening. All anybody has to do is look in your area and look for any restaurant grand opening or like brand new, recently opened, and they know exactly where you are. Again, they're so braggadocious. They always want to tell you enough to try to rub it in your face that they give themselves away every single time. And sometimes they do it because they know people are going to are going to address it, show up, do the things, and then they get fired. And guess what? They get to blame awareness. It's all awareness's fault. And the way he acts, like, I'm going to text message my mutuals because I don't want to be on here. Sir, that's an easy solution. Pay your own way and you never have to be on TikTok begging again. You don't ever have to see people questioning you. You are free to go about your business. To me, when you have a paycheck and you are still expecting people to pay your way, you are literally just taking advantage of others because you think, wait, what was that? I don't think that's a new story. Now, again, when you are observant and you're paying attention, you pick up on inconsistencies. Who remembers a few, like a week to 2 weeks ago, he had a complete meltdown because he needed money. And I can't remember if it was for medicine or not. But he was freaking out because he can't afford to get sick with cancer, which he says he has. I don't know his medical records, so I can't say yay or nay. But he was having a complete meltdown about it. Well, lo and behold, the other day, he was actually sick with this smug smile on his face. That his manager was sick and he caught it. Where's the crash out, sir? Where's the, oh my God, I can't get sick with cancer. Oh my God, I need to go to the ER. Oh my God, I need to go get medicine. It was, oh, my manager was sick, so I thought you couldn't afford to get sick because you're already sick and your body doesn't have White Sox. Sorry, y'all. And your body doesn't have the ability to heal yourself. And if I'm not mistaken, he also said that he's allergic to most antibiotics so that they don't work for him. That's how you know I'm not making it up, because I have a level of detail that, like, where could I make that up? Why would I know he's allergic to most antibiotics? Correct, Harley. Oh. I don't know if y'all can hear him whining. No, he's whining because I told him to stop trying to jump on his sister's neck. I realize that he's trying to establish dominance. So he literally stares at her and stares at her and stares at her. And then he jumps and like bites her neck. And it makes her immobile. And she doesn't like it. Oh, yes, this is White Sox goes, ow, 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 every time he gets yelled at. It's a mess. Welcome in everyone who's here now that wasn't before. So that was a few days ago. That was like the end of April. Let me go back to his normal. He comes back on May 3rd after having not been on the app for some time. And I thought to myself, well, perhaps he paid for his own stuff for a few days. I have no way of knowing one way or another. People could have sent him so many donations he didn't have to come on. He could have paid for it himself. I don't know. But what cracks me up is you will go live every single day for 6 months and ask for money every single day. And you'll take off 2 or 3 days and act like you haven't been on the app for 6 months. You could tell immediately when he got online that he had an attitude. It was immediate. And I was like, here we go. No more smug, happy-go-lucky, White Sox. Why are you whining, buddy? What's wrong? Here, you know what? I have some treats. Hopefully I can find them quickly. White Sox, Kira, get off the phone. Kira, get off the phone. Kira, get off the phone. There go a few for you. Here. There go yours. Okay. Let me just give Kira a couple more because these are her favorites. All right. Okay. Kira took his toy. Well, this is what's funny. When she chases him, he runs like a bitch. That's why I think he's always trying to assert his dominance because he truly isn't. So he comes on and immediately he needs $51 for the room. And of course, he claims he's in the middle of nowhere because it was the cheapest hotel room around. And I don't understand. No, I do understand. He gets more money rage baiting than he does anything else. So when someone came in and was asking him questions, he said, please stop asking me effing questions. But you can ask people for their money, but they can't ask you questions. The other thing that I don't understand about scammers is they'll be like, it's on my page. Well, if I'm strolling TikTok and I land in your live, I haven't been able to go see your page. I don't know what's on your page. I'm just falling into your life. Then he says, And this, I struggle because just because something is true doesn't mean that you have a right to an attitude about it. He's like, just because I'm open about being trans doesn't mean I have to answer your questions. True. But why is it that you get to ask for people's money, but they can't ask about who you are as a person? And if you want to be closed off to answering questions to new people, go private and just talk to the people who know you and you know them and leave everybody else out of it. He is so entitled, and it's getting to the point where they are upset that it takes them so long to get the money now. They don't seem to understand. Of course, they see everything going up in their life, but don't understand why the general public don't have it. He loves to say, I could never sit in anybody's face and watch them be broke or not eat or whatever the story is that day. Sir, you do it every day. Because you literally sit on the app and beg only for yourself. And you don't care that that person might have had to rob Peter to pay Paul to give you some change. You don't care. You don't care how they got it, what they had to do, as long as you get it. Really, Skittles? Their entitlement to other people's money will baffle me literally for the rest of my life. I don't understand why, because they may have had a bad experience with one person, entitles them to be mean to everybody. You don't know if somebody has been here for months or is brand new. You don't even know, but it doesn't matter to you. And I wish people would stop rewarding bad behavior. This is what's wrong with society in general. So kudos for him for taking 5 days off. But we're back, and we're back in full force, and we're back with an attitude, and we're back with the entitlement we've always had. How he got off on 5 days, I don't know. Again, if he paid for himself, because at one point he was like, I'm just going to text my mutuals because I don't want to be on here. Royal, we don't want you to be on here begging either. So do whatever it is that you need to do so that we don't have to see you on here begging for money. Make whatever moves you need to make. But I'd like that 5 days to get extended further. Believe me. It is, May. It's ridiculous. Again, oh, that was the other thing I forgot to say. Every time I change a photo, please like the live until you feel the heart stale, and then take a break. If you feel like tapping after that, I appreciate it. If you have a tapper, do your thing. But it's to make sure the live stays up and that we reach the audience we're trying to reach. Because TikTok is, of course, violating me for having low quality content. Make it make sense. But they'll let somebody sleeping on here get all the gifts in the world. But that's okay. Let me introduce you to Brother Chicago. Now, like I said before, he was introduced to me by somebody else. Love to Scar was streaming him. Princess was in there, and you guys know that I can't stand a holy roller. I can't stand it. Let me show you a few things about him. Yeah, Miss Coffee, it's ridiculous because a man of Christ doesn't have the demeanor he has. A man of Christ is appreciative. A man of Christ doesn't degrade women and treat people as horribly as he does. So you can declare yourself a brother in Christ, a Christ follower, but if you aren't exemplifying the traits of Christ, then you're not serving Christ. You are serving someone, but it ain't Christ. So let me, Midnight, I am too. First of all, this is what he looks on this account in particular, which is Brother.Chicago. This tends to be the setup. And he always has this red book in his hand that he calls his Bible. But it looks like it is just Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and maybe Romans, Acts, and Corinthians. I don't know if it even has that much. But as I've said to you, it's the whole Bible or it's nothing for me. Because Christ in the Greek scriptures fulfills the prophecies of the Hebrew scriptures. So for me personally, in order to truly understand and appreciate what happens later, you need to know what happened before. But even still, he could read what is in the book and compare it to his own behavior and see that he is falling drastically short. He is one of those, I know everything there is to know about everything that I talk about, and so therefore you can offer me nothing. Your perspective doesn't matter. But just a quick look. He very much dislikes women, and it's because of his baby mama, which he alluded to being his ex-wife. He despises her because she's an addict, and I believe he tried to indicate that she cheated. I couldn't imagine being married to you, bro. I couldn't. Now, I'm not saying that gave her the right to become a user and leave her kids, but again, we're only hearing one side of the story. We don't know what the truth is. He's left the state they were from. So we don't know what happened. Did he just pack up the kids one day and leave, and she came home one day and they were gone? Is she actually an addict? We don't know. And unless she makes a TikTok and comes and shares her side of the story, we'll never know. Correct, Liliana. But even without her side, just his demeanor, his behavior, the way his children react and respond to him, it's giving toxic. It's giving toxic 110%. And he too is just like the rest of the rage baiters, where if you're not giving to him, you're a bad Christian. Okay, so I don't give you money, but I help out somebody in my community, and because I don't help you personally, I'm a bad Christian? Somebody has to make sense of that to me. But let me show you something else. These are the accounts I found. And it was a simple search. But I want you to see in particular the middle one on the right. It's Savage to Saint 773 Apparel. So suddenly he's a digital, what did he call himself? Oh my goodness. A digital artist or something like that. And it's basically the exact same t-shirt with a slightly different artwork on the chest. Now see, if you were running everybody to your page, your apparel page, saying, listen, you don't have to give me money directly, I'm trying to start an apparel line, that would be great. Get on TikTok Shop. Oh, I forgot he can't because if he hasn't gotten it, if he has gotten it, he just got his ID. What grown man with children is running around the United States without the bare minimum of an ID? Why wouldn't you have an ID? How do you do anything? How do you take the kids to the doctor? How do you rent a hotel room? And you don't have an ID. See, because he has his daughters, he would like the world to believe that he's the greatest man on the planet. Having them is one thing. Taking care of them is something else. Because as a father, it is not just financial. It's mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. And you're doing none of it because other people are paying. And he loves to use his daughters as a reason, as the excuse. He says he can't work because he can't leave his children to go work. That if he got arrested for leaving the children, then we would think of him as a bad father. And we would. I'm first in line. But how do single mothers do it every day? Single fathers do it every day. But when you don't even have an ID to start with, sir, my suggestion is you get your act in order. But see, the children are the money grab. You should see how many videos he has with his children sitting on the floor and sleeping in what looks like to be a hotel lobby where he begs for money for food in a hotel room and etc. And now all of a sudden, oh, I'm not going to show my kids again because you're just using them for blah. Sir, you're the one using them. You would never catch me posting the children. But you had no problem doing so when they were making money for you. It broke my heart the other day because he was I shouldn't say talking, I'm sorry, yelling and cursing and going off on people. And one of his daughters made a mistake. And I believe it was the oldest one based on her voice. And she immediately started with, I'm sorry, daddy, I'm sorry, daddy, I'm sorry, daddy, I'm sorry, daddy. Like, that response to making a mistake isn't normal. Children are going to make mistakes. It's how they learn. And what did he do? He muted the phone. And I swear to y'all, if he came back and that little girl was crying, I might have lost my shit. I'm not even going to front. But she wasn't, thankfully. Now, I don't know what he said to her. I know that the children are supposed to be seen and not heard while he's live. But while you're sitting there berating us about how we aren't good people, you could equally spend that time with your children. Why aren't you teaching them how to read and write, do math, teaching about the world around them? There are free places you can go, sir. You're in a new place. You could take them to the park, to the playground. But no, instead you have them stuck in a room with you while you yell, scream, hoop, and holler about what people aren't doing for you. It's ridiculous. And I can't stand pick-me's who see a man with a bunch of vitriol and a little bass in his voice, and he articulates himself in a way that is degrading to others, and they find it sexy. Let me hold your hand when I tell you this. When he's knocking you upside the head, it won't be sexy anymore. Because in his household, it's his way and no other. He's the kind of person to use the Bible against you, while he, in turn, doesn't follow the Bible that he's using to judge you. Because you can use all of the biblical scriptures about what I should be doing as a fellow Christian, and you aren't meeting the baseline of being a father that's a Christian. And I love how they do that. Hold on, let me go back so you can see his photo. It is angry all the time. That is not indicative of a Christian at all. And let me bear something in mind. It's not that Christians can't get upset. It's not that Christians don't have bad days. It's not you are not a Christian because you are in a valley. Those are not mutually exclusive things. You can be a Christian and be all of those things. But for you to go after people for not giving you money to take care of yourself and you're grown with your 3 children, that's not Christianly either, sir. And so I asked him a basic question like, well, were you married? Because of course we know, like, okay, now your brother holy so-and-so, or were you sleeping with your kid's mother without a wedding, without a marriage? And at first, of course, it was none of my business. And then he tried to say, I'm not the one who did rugs. I'm not the one who cheated. And like, how do you know I don't have divorce papers? Well, that's why I asked the question, sir. But he knew where I was going. So he reset. He reset it again. And he reset again. I said reset it and reset again. You want no questions asked. You want to look there and be seen as a holy roller that loves Christ and there and rage bait Christians into believing they owe you something. They don't. They don't owe you in particular anything. And so no, he doesn't get a bolo. He goes straight on the list. And my suggestion is that more people stream him, more people make videos about him, more people talk about him, because what he is doing in the name of Jesus is unacceptable. Hold on.
Good morning,
Good
Dee.
morning. Good morning.
So I streamed him yesterday, and I just wanted to bring this to attention with the women hating thing because this, to me, I'm not a doctor or a therapist, but this to me made sense. He mentioned his mother passing yesterday very angrily and how she didn't wait for him, I guess, to say goodbye. And he was aggressively complaining about having to kiss a cold, unalived hand or cheek and things. I feel like a lot of his anger towards women, not only from baby mamas, also stems from, I guess, his mother's situation by the anger he was portraying about it.
Yeah.
And yesterday, what really breaks my heart about these babies is yesterday he was starting to preach and the girls were playing, being kids, normal ages, and he just glanced over. And as soon as he glanced that horrible face over, those little babies were just shushing each other and you can hear the fear in their voices when they were shushing each other because he was talking. And I don't like that, Dee. This man needs to be shown by a lot of streamers. He really does. He's very scary.
Agreed. And his girls are terrified.
They're terrified. You can hear it in their little voices that I mean, he just looks at them. He just
Right.
glances over. That's terrifying. Those babies should not feel like that. They should be playing and being loud and being children.
Correct. Also, they have to be silent in their free time because he wants to be on live all day long begging. When do they get to be children?
Exactly. And I think when he's on TikTok, he's on his laptop too. I think he's double streaming. I think he's on either YouTube, Facebook. He's on another app while he's on here.
Or he could be on another account.
He could be. He could be. But
Do
he
you know what the
definitely.
YouTube is by any chance? It's
I don't.
probably
I'm
Brother
looking for it. It's
Chicago.
probably the same name, but I
Right.
wanted to go look for it or any other streaming app, honestly. But guys, whoever streams in here that is aware, please stream him. He needs
Yes.
to be. He needs to be streamed and exposed. He really does for those children's safety.
100%. 100%.
I appreciate you letting me up and thank you for
Of
covering this one.
course. Thank you. Thank you so much. He deserves it for sure. And as I said, have you guys covered Jordan Paul? Not yet today. I've covered her a million times, but not yet today. Oh no, it looks like I got bit. Uh, you started posting him, Jody? Excellent. He needs as much exposure as he can get. And again, the children deserve a better set of circumstances. And I am not, what's the word I'm looking for? I am in no way, shape, or form suggesting that the children would be better if they were taken away by CPS or DCF or whatever it is in your location. Because too many horror stories have come out of children being placed with people who only see them as a paycheck. and there's no familial bond, so it's an even worse sort of circumstances. So I don't want anybody to think that that's what I'm suggesting. I'm saying that he needs resources and interventions that could benefit the children. Oh, sure, Heaven. I will. I'm always willing to show the grid. It's a short one today. I've done Royal, Robert, and that's it. And we're already an hour in. And I'm looking for some anti itch cream for my arm. Okay, who do I want to do next? That's not it. Let's do. Wait, hold on. What did it say? I missed the good ones. No, Sparkles, you haven't. Let's get to Jordan real quick. Because to me, she is wash, rinse, repeat. And I do not, for the life of me, understand why people still feel the need to give her money. In part because she lies. And I also don't understand how people can stand to be in there hour after hour. Like, I'll go to Penny Fairy's live because I love the bingo. It cracks me up. But even with the bingo, I can only stay for so long because it is literally the same sentences over and over and over again. And it is obvious by her looks in terms of over the years what's happening. And yet, there are people in there defending her as if she is some innocent 16-year-old whose family kicked her out and she's not sure how to get back on her feet. The moment people started to say something's not right, she doesn't have a job. Because when she has a job and she wants you to believe she has a job, she talks about the job nonstop. Remember when she quote unquote got hired for both jobs? That's all we heard about. How she was going to have a job for 22 or what was it, $20 an hour, and the other one was $22 an hour, and she couldn't wait for the second one to start, but the first one was going to start her off good, and then she wouldn't have to be on here begging, and it would give her the money to get the trailer, and on and on and on she went. Then she tried to use having the job as a reason why she needed the money by a certain time during the day. That makes sense. And at first, it was like, okay. And then it started to creep later and later in the day. So then she said, oh, I don't have to be to work until 12. So then it was every day by 12. And then when that didn't happen, guess what? She was able to stay later and later to the point where it is obvious there's no job, in part because she doesn't mention it at all. And then what happened to the second one? What happened to the one with more money that you promised everybody you had? And what's so crazy is that it's possible to be offered a job and they take it away. It's possible to start a job and be fired. She's mentioned nothing. Just the jobs disappeared as fast as they came into existence. How and why has that happened, man? Somebody want to explain it to me? And yet, and still, with everything on the table that's obvious, you guys are worried about what we're talking about, what we have to say, how we're doing things. You're mad about somebody showing up at her hotel room, and whether it was a real cease and desist or RO or a fake one. And I think you and her like to focus on those things because then it absolves you of having to think critically about the person you support. As long as she is seen as someone who's being messed with and stalked and treated unfairly, you feel like you have this righteous stand that you can, pump your fist from behind and say, you guys are mean and you guys do this and you guys do that. Fine. But where is the vitriol for the person you support? Where is the expectation from the person you support? Right, J. Catherine? C-Stack? I'm not sure about the rest of it, but C-Stack, I agree. The whole thing about the grandmother always pops up when she's struggling to get money. Of course she did not today, because she'll say, I wasn't on here for 5 weeks. Can somebody tell me when? When has she ever earned enough money to not be on here for 5 weeks? Unless she was living off of somebody else. Because I don't ever remember a 5 week period of time where Jordan wasn't live. I know there were 5 weeks I didn't cover her, because literally it's the same thing. I'm over it. We remember she had the apartment. Remember? And this is what's so funny is that her stories or her lives are always based on the story that makes her look like the weakling. And it's, remember when she got the apartment? She was so happy and thrilled to death with it. It was the best thing since sliced bread. She was working. She was going to work. And even then, guess what she was asking for? Remember the $100 dog food? Or she needed Gatorade and something to eat while she was at work. And remember, she couldn't show us the uniform because of where she worked? And then it was gas money. And then next thing you know, can I just get a little bit of dog food for the dogs? And of course they had to have special food. What happened, Jordan? Who's feeding the dogs now? Because I don't hear anything about dog food anymore and needing special dog food. What happened? You got somebody who personally adopted the dog? Because we know there's only one. And Now they take care of all of the dog's needs and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Remember when it was her wallet and cell phone were stolen? And what got me then was that she talked about how she had like an iPhone 13 or whatever it was. It was the latest version. And my question was always, how did you afford that, Jordan? I didn't even have that phone at the time, the latest and greatest. But you got it, and your slum landlord brought a woman to your home to beat you up. And the reason why you got beat up is because your dogs ran out the door and they were your top priority. How many weeks did we hear that story? And then hear about how she has a court case and she showed um, a detective's card and was like, see, this is the proof. I could see a cop anywhere and walk up and be like, can I have your card? And then show it. When they came to investigate the drama that you claim happened, anybody, they could have come for drama for another apartment and you could have got their business card. Remember when it was the other stalker every day? And how she went to buy work boots for her new job again? And her stalker showed up. And again, she claimed she showed proof with her phone going wildly everywhere. And she had to run to security. When she talks about the people that were around when she was live streaming and gaming, I remember when she was in her own apartment live streaming, gaming, and begging. Remember that's when the dog always got in her lap and it was going to break the chair and it was going to hurt her and all of that, and she needed dog food then. And it had to be a specific type of dog food. If you've been around that long, then you know all of these stories too, and you're choosing to be willfully ignorant. You're choosing to ignore what is literally sitting in your face on a daily basis. And I'm sorry, I can't help stupid. I can't make it any clearer for you than she's made it clear herself. Do I think some of the things that have happened as a result of the coverage is okay? Of course not. But how long are you going to take care of this grown woman? How long? Thank you for the gifts, by the way. I appreciate it. Oh, you didn't miss Coffee? Her stories are legendary in part because when she goes live, whatever the story is at the time, that's all she talks about incessantly. And my thing is, it's been months since she started taking photos of people commenting in her live. What has happened? What is the result of all of this activity? Who's gone to court? Who's been arrested? I'm waiting to see. Of course it's an act. You think her storage is full? Well, I know one of the reasons she went to a different account in part is because she was trying to get on a new algorithm as if we weren't going to be right there. And also, as she was blocking people, some of the oldies but goodies were getting unblocked. Do you know that it takes 10,000 blocked accounts before a new blocked account opens an old one? 10,000 people blocked. 10,000. Think about that number. I'm just over 10,000 followers. I think I'm at 15,000 followers. She's blocked just about everybody that has ever followed me. Somebody has to make that make sense. But this is my other question. How is it that everybody who covers her is wrong, but she won't have a single conversation with any of us? Why is it that when anyone who has supported her for months, years even, has a question that doesn't fit her narrative, they get blocked? Because see, if you everything was on the up and up, it wouldn't matter who was asking the questions. You would have the same answers. See, the A, they don't want to get tripped up. And B, they don't want people who are in there supporting to think twice about supporting. They are the only reason why I wish the economy would implode. And nobody would have extra money to take care of any scammer. But see, when that happens, then the people really in need won't be taken care of. And that's the part that I can't get involved with. Because there are actual people in need that could use some of this disposable income that people that are giving to people like Jordan, who just happen to end up in bad situations. But no, it's the people like her and Yazzie and Christina that get the help. Somebody has to help me understand. All right, who's next? Right, don't say hello. And that's the other thing. Let me just say one thing. She goes through her, I didn't even know this was a thing. And so it says, and I'm just doing this to be funny, y'all. I'm not doing, but Beverly, Mrs. Awesome, Zodiac, plus size, y'all are in here. Y'all have been in here for a while, but you haven't even hit the Daily Heart Me, and you haven't even said anything, and you haven't even liked the live. Do you know what saying hello in your live does? It brings you to attention. And the first thing you're going to do is block them. Why would anybody say anything in any of your lives? Because the first thing you do is block. Correct, AP baby. Of course, everybody comes from us, even though she's resetting constantly to get new people. Their actions don't even make sense. And then, because she harps so much on the people that she doesn't like that cover her, why would new people join in? Why would anybody want to be a part of that? I don't get it. That leads me to Christina. And I believe she's back on another account. I don't know if it's the old Christina Test account. I saw it and it said something like, it just said Christina, and then the little caption said KT's family. I wanted to fall over. Let me get to the page. So we know she moved out. I'm so happy for Josh's parents. I can't tell you. And the way they did it, chef's kiss. Can you hear me? Echo, stop. Can you hear me? Okay. So she left the house and she's with the older gentleman. And let me say this. The other day, she was like, I don't understand why people think anything. He's 10 years older than my mother. My question to you is this, Christina. Then why was he spending the night with you? Oh, thank you guys for 200,000 likes. I appreciate it. You know, the goal is to end up on the FYP and to prevent ourselves from being taken down. So I appreciate the support. Every time I change the photo, please like the live until you feel the heart's tail and then take a break. I don't care about the number at the end. I just care about staying live. So again, why is this man? Because he doesn't spend all day with her. This is when she was in Josh's house. He wouldn't spend all day with her. Like, it wasn't like, let's hang out all day. Oh, thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. He always came over at night, just before it got dark. And whenever he would come over, she would get real giggly with the sycophants in her lives. And she would want to take a bath. If he was just there as protection or lookout, you only needed that at night? And when it was time to go, if he was just a lookout, a friend, why did he stay with you the night before and then help you go through your things? Which, what? And then take you out of there and bring you to a house that you could tell she wasn't 100% comfortable in. Now, I don't know if he's moved her. I think so, because the background looks different. But even there, it's not like it's her house or she runs things. Because she just kind of sits in one place and talks. But this day, she was sitting in the car. And just like so many others, Christina needs a villain in her story. She needs somebody to attack, because then people are focused on the person she's attacking and not on her behavior. Again, she is using on live, telling you she's using. She has been put out of, she was forced to leave due to circumstances from the apartment she thought was going to be hers. We know good and well When she was offered that $300 by the landlord, she left. She now has all of the freedom in the world to go to rehab. There's nothing stopping her. She has ID. She has a little bit of money in her pocket. She has your undying support. You told her you loved her and you would never stop. And yet for some reason she hasn't gone. Anybody want to tell me why she hasn't gone? She did, by the way, TikTok Lit Bear. She did go to the pharmacy. Oh wait, did she? I think her mom. No, so it was Christina's mom and TikTok president. One of them went to the doctor. The other went to the pharmacy. Sissy, I've made a conscious decision to let other people do them. It's not my bag. It's not my bag. I've said a few things about him and had people come in the box, but their story is, I believe in the end, Nicole is going to come to harm and nobody's going to care. And Jerry's still going to be here doing what Jerry does. So, I don't know. Maybe at some point. Thank you, Spooks, for being a long-time supporter. Always all for one, I agree. I have watched them from time to time. They were on the grid once before, and I agree with you. They have been, I decide pretty early on who I'm going to watch so that I can focus and get more than one day, hopefully. But, and they've been on the list, and then someone else has interfered. They also like to go live very late at night, which sometimes is a hindrance. But what I don't understand is y'all send him money for him and his current baby mama to live. He supposedly works. She claims she can't because of the baby. And then the other baby mama is on here begging for money too, as if the daddy isn't taking any of the money he earns and takes care of that baby. So I don't know. But I'll get there. All money. I know who 2K is. If that's the barber that had the baby with what's her name. But all money, no. I'll have to look it up. Good morning, good morning. So the new villain for Christina was Florida. Oh, thank you. Was somebody named Florida who had just given her money the night before or the day before. So Florida got messages, of course, because she sent Christina money and said so in the chat. She probably got inundated with messages. Because let me tell you something, the one thing y'all can do is send a DM. Now, I just ask that your DMs be polite and considerate so that they hear the message and not the tone. The tone should be so subtle that it's all about the words you use. So Florida tells Christina, I got all these DMs. And when Christina asks now Christina always says, all I ask is that you report them and block them, right? That's what she says to everybody. If you get messages, report it and block the account. Well, that changed this time for some reason because she asked Florida what the messages were, and Florida didn't tell her. And so now she's suspicious. Good morning, Exposing. Good morning to everybody else. Good morning to all my mods if you weren't heard earlier when I said so. Of course you got blocked. Why does she have... You know what the messages are. Christina's a bad person. Don't send her money. She's actively using while live. That's what she's doing with your money. So what? You tell everybody else to report and block. But somehow Florida, who just gave you $20, mind you, one of the people in Christina's box said she only needs $5 because it was like toilet paper and something else. Christina said, I would really like 10 or 15 so I can get something to eat. Florida sent 20. She sent more than either one of them asked for. And by the next day, she's suspicious because she doesn't want to run down every single message she got from people. They always need a villain in the story because with a villain, then they can be the victim. How dare you do that to somebody? And that's how you know we are not living in real life. And instead of the people in her boxes, her new besties, saying to her, hold on a minute, she just gave you $20 yesterday. Let's not assume that she's a villain. Let's not assume that she has bad intentions. And even if she did, thank her and let everybody move on. She helped you when you needed it yesterday. Nah, they right in there. They're immediately suspicious, right with Christina. So she's in the car. She claims that they're not together, but that he does help her with her supply. Again, why are we promoting this if that's who she's getting what she's using from? Y'all are okay with that though? No problem. Make the woman who gave her money the villain, but not the man who's supplying her rugs for every day, all day. Okay, that makes total sense to me. Then she talks about how she needs them to help her figure out where she's going next. That's not rehab. And what irks my nerves is when she asks them to Google something. If you know that they're going to ask Google, you can ask Google yourself. But again, it's a manipulation tactic. If I can help you, if I can get you to help me every step of the way, you're now invested in my success. Whereas if I do it on myself, then you're just along for the ride and you can hop on or hop off whenever you feel like it. But if it's all down to what you did, what you said, what you agreed to, well, now you want it to be successful. So after telling them that she needed their help, she then said she did so much cocaine the night before that her eyes were so crossed that even with her glasses on, she couldn't see to light her own cigarette. correct, Pink Panther. But y'all are still sitting in the box with her. Like, oh. See, what they don't realize is that the reason why there is even room for them to be her new sycophants is because she has burned everybody else out. How was there room for you? And what blows my mind is the two of them, was it Felicia and so Ashley, feel like somehow their presence is going to be the presence that fixes it, even though there's been absolutely no progress. In fact, she's gotten worse. She's going to suck you dry, whether it's financial, emotional, spiritual, physical. She's going to bleed you dry until there's nothing left. And when the day comes, just float away. I don't even want to hear what y'all talked about or the backstory. Just go away. Go back to where you came from, which was the nether regions of TikTok. I never want to hear from y'all again. Because I am of the opinion that they're actually worse than the people that thought they were helping her do right. They know she's not doing right, and they're still standing there and still being suspicious of everybody else and still talking junk about other people when they know they're dealing with a junkie. Make that make sense to me. You're always going to be there for her until she burns your ass. And then it'll be, I can't believe after all that I did for her, she's done it to everybody before you. And she's going to continue to do that. You are only useful because you are her useful idiot at present. The moment you stand up and say, wait a minute, I look like a fool, you'll be gone too. And you'll be the villain in the story, just like her cousin, just like everybody else in her life. Ask Kaden. Ask Josh. So they had gotten off the phone because they also talk on the phone, which when I found that out, I'm like, why can't y'all just do that? Why do we have to hear y'all talk on live to each other? Just go. Oh, wait, did somebody say they were clean for 7 years? Congratulations, Shannon. That's amazing. Keep pushing. They got off the phone the night before at 11:10 p.m. And she said she turns her phone off at night because she'd never get any sleep. I know I had to turn off the notifications on my watch because my notifications from TikTok were waking me up every couple of seconds. So I understand that. But Christina saw that the Book of Face had her friend listed as being on, like the light was on or whatever the case may be. And of course, she felt like she was being ignored, so she acted like a child. This is what I mean by she's going to suck you dry. Now, are you going to be able to turn your phone off at night? Or do you have to keep it on now because Christina might want to talk to you in the middle of the night as if you don't have any responsibilities? But I'll wait for it. I'll wait for it. She literally wants all their time and energy. And if they focus on anything other than her, she redirects back to her. They could be talking about anything. She redirects back to her. What she needs, what she wants, what's happening in her life. There's no room for anybody else in Christina's bubble but Christina. The only room left is your money. Literally, little pockets in her circle is only left for money. That's it. Then, this is the thing that pissed me off with Felicia. So, Felicia will be in there asking for money for Christina, knowing that she's actively using, right? No problem with that. Because she would willfully like to remain oblivious that when Christina asks for $20, she's going to the dollar store getting $1.25 of toilet paper. What you think she's spending the rest of it on, Felicia? But anyway, again, you can't make this up. So Felicia is going to a store. And there's a man staring. And Felicia's like, I don't know what he's staring about. She gets out the car. The gentleman asks about some random person getting out of jail. And then he asks her for 49 cents. He didn't ask for $5, $10, $15, $20. He asked her for 49 cents. Which means he probably had the rest of the money. And it sounded like he wanted smokes, right? Do you know that this bitch had a nerve to complain about him? To complain about him? Asking her for money? And she says to him, I only have a $100 bill and I need to use it I need to use all of it. The delusion going on over there is baffling to me. You want other people to give Christina money for whatever at this point. But you couldn't give somebody 49 cents? And then the other one in the box was like, he was just trying to make conversation so he could ask you for money. And I'm sitting here, hands on my head, like, y'all can't be serious. So then what does Felicia do? It sounds like she was like at a gas station, corner store or something. She buys a pack of cigarettes. So now you have change from your $100 bill. You think she walked out and was like, here's $1? You think she asked the clerk, can you break this down so I can have 50 cents? So I can help this man outside? Do you think she cracked open her cigarettes and said, here are 2. I can't give you any change because I need it all, but here are 2 smokes? Hell no. Hell no. They did none of that. Okay, Granny Annie, thank you. Y'all, they just showed their true colors. This isn't about being there for people. This isn't about wanting the best for people. This isn't about helping those in need around them. This is clout chasing at its finest. Because they knew supporting Christina would get their name everywhere and everybody would talk about them and they'd get a bunch of followers and everybody would hang on every word they said. You are suspicious of the woman from Florida who gave her $20, no questions asked. But nobody wants to know from you why you couldn't get that gentleman 50 cents? When they say birds of a feather flock together, they mean it. Lumpy pillows, why else? Why else are they suddenly around acting like she's the best thing since sliced bread? When most people wouldn't even want to be in a box with her. What else can she offer them? They can't say it's because they want to help people. Then, I think it was Felicia. It might have been the other one. I don't know. They all sound alike to me. She sends proof of something to Christina. You sending proof of anything to Christina about anything shows what a dingbat you really are. Because Christina always acts like she has receipts and shows none. That's how she gets away with what she says, because there's no receipts. And again, I'm going to ask this question. What makes you so special that suddenly she's going to turn her life around when everything she has done up to this point has been in defiance of what she's told you? Anybody want to answer that? When's she going to rehab? Have people called rehabs and found open beds for her? And what's going to happen when she tries to get more meds from the pharmacy and the doctor and they tell her no? Because remember, every live is recorded. What's she going to say? Oh, I was just lying to them, when we could see her eyes and you can tell she is off her rocker and she admits to it? And then they do a rug test, they find it. But guess what? It won't be her fault. She'll be completely innocent as far as they're concerned. It'll be her mom's fault. It'll be her cousin's fault, who again owes her everything but doesn't know her. They've only met twice. Them two better hope that she doesn't get a hold of some wrong stuff, and the last time she talks to anybody, it's them encouraging her nonsense. Because you can go run and hide, but that spirit will land on your heart and you won't be able to get rid of it. And then the part that cracked me up was that they had to tell her to bathe, right? This is the second or third time I've heard them do that. And they're like, you know why, right? And she was like, you tell them why. And the girl was like, because you got dirt under your fingernails. But that that's not even the reason Christina wanted them to tell them. It's because on cocaine C-rack, you smell. It literally comes out of your pores. So you don't want her to bathe because it's healthy for her. You don't want her to bathe because that is the normal course of business and living life. But so that when she goes out or she's around people, she doesn't smell like the rug that she's doing all day. I guess it's whatever floats your boat. I guess it's whatever floats your boat. But believe me, y'all better hope she goes to rehab under your tutelage because you'll never be able to live it down. Ever. So keep doing what you do, and I'm going to keep doing what I do. And we'll see where we fall out in the end. Next. Now, I told y'all on Friday morning that they would be back. That they usually start Friday with needing food, which they did. And then by Sunday, they were going to ask for money for the room. This is based on somebody who's been working now for at least a month. And we're going to start at the end to go backwards. So after keeping everybody, including their financial supporters, in the dark, he pauses for 1 second, I'm assuming to talk to Angela, and comes back. Wait, before I do that. People are asking, like, where's your paycheck? What's going on? And he's like, I can't tell you because if I tell you one thing and it turns out to be something else, awareness is going to call me a liar. He also said that it wasn't a garnishment, that he knew where the money was going. So if you know where it's going, how could the story change later? And it wasn't a garnishment. But you didn't have answers, so you didn't want to say anything. And I immediately was like, that doesn't make any sense. So then he goes and pauses, he comes back, and like I said, I'm assuming he asked Angela if it was okay. Or they agreed to proceed with this bullshit story. That Angela's health hasn't been good. And because of that, he's been paying for testing out of pocket. And that they did a test for 300 and change last week and it came back inconclusive. So they still don't know what's wrong with her. So they got to do more testing that he had to pay cash for. And he's hoping that this test will tell them the truth. And that was the flip-flop he didn't want to do. You can't be serious, Timothy. You can't be serious. How could anybody hold you accountable for not knowing what the illness was that you had to pay for? You're not a doctor. So if you said Angela's ill and we're paying for out of pocket expenses, that would make sense. I wouldn't expect you to know. But the fact that it has taken you this long to tell people that that's where all the money has gone, I call bullshit. I call bullshit. I'm sorry. Because it doesn't make sense. We have seen you talk about both of your illnesses at length. Remember, the other day we learned that he was out of his blood pressure medication. He didn't make the proper arrangements when moving to ensure that he wouldn't run out of any of his medications, which also makes me believe the same is true with Angela. They didn't make whatever decisions they needed to make in order to make sure that their medication didn't end and they would face a period of time without any of their meds. We saw her in the hospital. We have seen them ill more than once where they were willing to talk about it. And see, you want to act like you have to worry about us so much that you can't even be honest with the people that have been paying your bills for the last few weeks. That you couldn't just tell everybody she's ill and we're getting testing done. But more importantly, you want me to believe that you didn't apply for any type of medical coverage this year. Now, I'm not saying that it was greatly affordable. But neither of you worked for months. And you mean, excuse me, and you mean to tell me that neither of you could have volunteered for a little while, could have taken a class so that you could continue to apply for not what's the word I'm looking for, eligible for Medicaid? Because he is quick to say, we don't have Medicaid, we don't have anything. Why not? Of course, Rochester, you know you're always. Joan Marie, I agree. This year, with all of the changes by the big beautiful bill, it would be expensive. But if your wife is that ill, I would find any and every which way. Now, I used to work for a nonprofit. That's where I've actually worked at two that were healthcare driven. We saw people regardless of their ability to pay. And if you didn't have insurance, we would help you apply for what you qualified for, or we did a sliding scale. It's called the Federal Community Health Center, an FQHC. It's a 401c3 nonprofit. And what they do is so that in order for us to afford to take care of people without insurance, they pay us more for people with insurance. So whereas a regular doctor might get $83 for a physical, we would get $200. Because the assumption was that there was going to be somebody else who needed a physical who wouldn't qualify for insurance. It was meant as a safety net. Now, I don't know where they are, so I don't know how close an FQHC is. But one of the things he said was that they wanted to go to a nonprofit, but it was too far away. If my wife is this ill, I'm going to hide that and then beg other people for money for a hotel and food. I'm sorry, I forgot, Rochester. Good morning.
Good morning, Dee Dee. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Mom's doing well this morning.
Great.
Um, I have four quick points that I wanted to make. I don't know if anybody else caught this, but when Timmy got his quote unquote job, did he say he gets paid every week?
Correct. Every week.
Well, okay. Well, in his live, when he was talking about that imaginary bill that keeps coming out of his check, he says he checks it every 2 weeks to see if
Oh,
it's come out. I don't know if anybody else caught it, but I was listening hard on that one.
I did not. That's interesting.
And another thing he was making is he says he doesn't know how much a bill is, how much is left to come out. But how do you have a bank account and not know what's coming out of your bank account? Because I know for a fact if I've got a bill coming out, I know what's coming out, how much is left, and when it's all over. I mean, that's for any transaction I make on my bank account. So
But that's the other thing. In order for him to get the testing, they have to agree to the bill, sign for it, and then sign for it to be charged out of their account. There's no way not to know if it's based on what you said, which is why I don't agree. It doesn't make any sense based on what he said.
none whatsoever. And there's the last two things I wanted to bring up, and I don't know if you're going to mention it, but I think it was Saturday night. I was listening in I think it was Scam Operas Live, and he brought up a 13-year-old girl's unaliving and used that as a money grift. He
I'm
brought that up, and I don't know if you've seen the clip, but there's a clip from he last summer in JSA's live where a very dear friend of mine, Kimberly, lives in the hotel that they stayed in. They got off live and started banging on her door, and you can hear Angela in the background screaming and hollering and using vulgar words towards her.
Oh, we heard that. Oh, I
Oh,
remember.
okay.
I was there for
And
that.
then he brought that up Saturday night too, right after the 13-year-old girl's issue that he used, and he shamed her, and it had to do with that issue and adult photos being shared that he kept hounding her for.
Oh, yeah, he's horrible.
It
It's
that the
always it's hypocritical.
hmm absolutely, and it hits home because Kimberly is a dear friend of mine,
Mm,
and for him to, we already know that those two are disgusting human beings for what they've done. That is just an all-time low to especially use a 13-year-old girl's unaliving for a money grift.
correct. The same way he used the 69-year-olds self unaliving to talk about mental health and bullying and all of that. And then turned right around and bullied somebody for the same thing he claims he was being bullied for.
I don't know if you had seen his chat last night because he was on pretty late. He talks about not wanting to be body shamed and all these pictures that are made of him, blah blah blah, but yet he let Eli in his chat body shame
Right.
awareness. He was letting it go left and right, but yet you don't want to be body shamed, but you're allowing your chat to do it. Make that
Right.
make sense.
Hold on, Rochester. Let me just ask this question. Um, wait, who is it? Amber Lynn, do you want a box? I'm not sure. I just don't want to put you up if you're okay, Rochester, keep going.
Oh no, that was it. It just make it make sense how you don't want to be body shamed. You don't want your wife to be body shamed, but you're allowing Eli in there to body shame left and right, and you're letting those comments sit.
Right.
That doesn't make any damn sense whatsoever.
Absolutely not. It sure doesn't. And see, one of the things that he did over the last few days that pissed me off is he says things like, so I've said all the time that if you're being body shamed or you're being whatever it is, call out the people who are doing it, because you just like to throw out awareness to make everybody look bad when everybody's not doing that. His excuse this weekend was that we don't separate him from the people who ask for money for rugs, so he's not going to bother separating us. See, sir, that isn't a fair comparison, because what I say is that based on your own echo, stop, based on your own actions, you are begging for money from people on a regular basis so that other people are taking care of you and your wife. I haven't said that you do it to use for rugs or any other purpose. I absolutely believe that you're using it to buy food and pay for your hotel room. The problem is that it's gone on for too long. And so you can't use the fact that people are calling you a scammer, beggar, liar, manipulator. You are those things. You are those things. So,
One
no,
hundred
I'm
percent.
not comparing you to Jordan or to Christina, but I am saying that you're a scammer, beggar, liar, manipulator. And I'm going to
Absolutely.
stick by that.
And one of his other things he was trying to drive home was that who are we to tell, or who are you or anybody else in awareness to tell people how to spend their money when people like him legitimately need help? You don't need help, Tim. You don't need legitimate help. You have a job where you said that you're making so much money that you got caught up on your food stamps. So if you're making so much money, why can't you pay for groceries, your medications, your hotel room every week?
Right.
You do not legitimately need help, and you do not have any business saying we can't tell people how to use their money. Well, you're right, we can't, but we can help prevent them from making a bad mistake.
Correct. And then furthermore, you weren't getting your medicine from, like, we used to have a pharmacy so that we could do the sliding scale for the pharmacy as well. You
Mhm.
said that you go to a regular pharmacy to get your medication. Who was paying for that, Tim, before?
Well, you're right, and there's a thing called the Good RX app. There's a few discount apps
Yes.
that you can use to get discounts on your medication. And if you're going to the hospital or to the emergency room and they write you a prescription, I don't know how hospitals in his area work, but I know that the major trauma center here that I've gone to, when I didn't have the money to pay for prescriptions, social work would vouch that medication and I wouldn't have to pay out of pocket. So
Hmm.
there's options. Not
Of
all
course
hospitals
there
do
are.
that.
But this is the thing. Tim has gotten to the point where, and this is where it's a problem. Tim has gotten to the point where it doesn't matter what the expense is. He doesn't deny it because he knows that he can come to TikTok and get what their basic needs covered. So, like I said, I thought that they were saving, and I still feel like this, that they're saving the money to get an apartment, that they need first, last, and security, and they need the deposit for the dog as well. And so they're stacking the money. So while they won't ask for money to move into an apartment, because people are like, you need to work to get there, they will ask and get money so that they can stay in a hotel. And especially if now you're dropping hints that Angela is so sick. This is my problem though. Angela did nothing while she wasn't so called sick.
Right.
So why wasn't she busting her butt when she wasn't so sick? Because she worked at McDonald's, so you and she liked that job according to her. So you can't say she couldn't work. But of course, now where people are like, "You got a job, why can't she get a job?" Now all of a sudden she is so ill that you are literally taking your entire paycheck and you're prepaying, what did he say, 20% of the bill?
I believe so.
And so, sir, what are we doing? And why did that have to be so secretive? But of course, it's our fault because we were going to call him a liar regardless. I don't call you a liar just because I want to call you a liar. When what you say doesn't make sense, when it is contrary to what you said in the past, now you're looking for a part time job on top of everything else. You didn't know that you couldn't cover your expenses? No, of course, because Angela suddenly got sick. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. It's because this is the other thing. So we all know that this month makes 2 years that they've been on live begging for money. Somebody said that in his chat, and he's like, it hasn't been 2 years. It's close to 2 years, but it hasn't been 2 years. When you want to be that much of a stickler for truth, then how about you give it to the people who have been giving you money? How about you tell them in detail what's actually going on? I don't understand why you're worried about us because we aren't the ones giving you the money, but you use us to get money.
I'm firmly, let's just say for shits and giggles, he does have a job. I think that that if he does have a job, he's collecting the paycheck, saying, he's all out of money, but he's stacking that money while still begging for other people's money. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's. We'll just say for shits and giggles, like I said, he's got the job. That's what he's doing. I can
Right.
almost guarantee that.
Yep, I agree.
And I start to stutter when I talk about these two because it's so triggering what they do. And then when he ended his live late last night, he used mental health as a reason why he was getting off. That he was so depressed, his blood pressure's out of whack, he's got a headache, he can't believe how depressed he is over this situation, and whatnot. It just bothers me when people use mental health like that as a money grift.
I hate it.
I mean, I'm not downing anybody if they have a mental health issue, but please don't use it as a money grift.
Correct.
It's
Because you weren't just depressed 2 years ago. You weren't just depressed a year ago. Like we didn't hear about all this depression a year ago. And again, if it's too much for you to be on TikTok, get off TikTok.
that's
But
that
you
simple.
can't because you want the money.
Well, I appreciate you letting me up in the box and letting me speak my opinion, Dee Dee.
You are always welcome in the box, Rochester. I appreciate you. Hug your mama for me.
I will. You have a wonderful day, honey.
You too. Mommies are precious. You need help? Okay. Thank you guys for supporting him. So then he did the thing that almost made me roll out the bed, out the door, and down the stairs. He said he brought up Guardians of Valor and said that when he got caught getting money from people on the app, where one person admitted to giving him $2,000 and other people said they gave him money, but they didn't want to admit to the amount. That we talked about it for a couple of days and then let it go. First of all, some of us stopped dealing with Guardians of Valor long before that information came out. Second of all, he got put through his paces. There wasn't just one person that talked about it. Many people talked about it when they found out the proof. He was dropped from another person's mod list when he was found out. It did not go by unnoticed. But you want to know what the difference is, Tim? Why it took a week or less to get past Guardians of Valor? Because if he is back and he's doing the same thing, we don't know about it yet. But in all that time, you still haven't paid the women back that you promised to pay. You are still begging every week for the same stuff, even though you've claimed you've had a job for a month now, if not longer. The false equivalency is ridiculous. Guardians of Valor is where? I don't know. I haven't heard about him. I haven't heard about him getting money from anybody. But you're here every week on time for the exact same two things. Oh, all we have enough is a bologna sandwich, and she's going to have that, and I'm not going to eat in the food pantries. See, one of the problems with food pantries is you don't get to pick what you want to eat. You got to take what they offer. Talking about your mental health as if your mental health is better or worse than the rest of us is nuts. Now, I have vehemently opposed the AI pictures that turn you into something that you're not, that make clear fun of your size. Because I wouldn't want anybody to do that to me. That's my moral compass. But you use that information to take advantage of other people. You're not up here discussing cyber stalking for the sense of cyber stalking. You're using it to say, I'm being cyber stalked. Can you give me your money, please? That's my problem, amongst many others. You're suddenly so invested in cyber stalking, and yet you've made a couple of videos, but your lives are almost exclusively geared to you getting money. You then have the nerve to say for $315, anybody in awareness can pay you that and you'll leave the app. And you want to know what I bet what would happen? You'd say they were stupid enough to think I was leaving and I'm not. Thanks for the money. That's why nobody's going to ever take you up on it. Because we know that it's just a front because you need the money immediately. We are not that invested. You have a warped sense of how invested we are. Just like Guardians of Valor, if you stopped begging, you'd go away. We'd have other people to cover. Believe me. I'm at 93 right now of people who I'm watching. I don't talk about all of them, but I'm watching 93. If you stopped begging, I would easily go away. And what also pisses me off is when he got the job, I remember saying, I feel like a proud mama. Because I thought that once you got the job, based on everything you said about it, how it's great, the pay is great, there's room for you to advance in your career and make even more money. I was proud of you. Just for you to throw back in our faces and give us a story that doesn't even seem plausible, like you don't have a clue what's coming out of your check, even though you have to sign the paper saying, yes, I approve you charging my card. Timothy, I know you were raised better than that, but you and your wife have spent your lives expecting other people to make sure that you're good, other than yourselves. That's why you had to be evicted from your own family's house. Because somewhere along the line, you felt like you were owed it, and you weren't. And at your big age, when you got fired, you didn't realize that companies were no longer beholden to employees, that your years of service don't matter when they have to streamline the process. Look at what just happened with Spirit Airlines. 17,000 employees lost their job overnight. And yes, the pilots will find work. Some of the flight attendants will also probably find work. But I bet you there's a whole lot of people who didn't. Some who probably started with the company when the company started. And you see every obstacle as a reason to expect something from other people. Oh, hmm, look who's here. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. I hope everyone is well. I couldn't pass this up because it has to be a teachable moment. And Sherry, spot on, Kevin, when you said that people are chastising you for just being in Tim and Angela's chat, that's misinformation, sir. The people are questioning you because you are liking his live and leading him on with questions that give him a pitiful, pathetic narrative of a story to ping off of your comments. Now, I do not condone nor agree with any threatening messages you may be receiving. That's not right. But I can assure you that the many people like Kelly and Sherry and those that are messaging are kind, to the point, and always available for follow-up questions if people need them. Kevin, some of those comments that were made yesterday in the chat when he was on all day long with
Oh,
his lies were hard to watch. And I'm not coming at you. No one in the chat's coming at you. We're available. Any of us are available to you if you have any questions that we can help with. It's hard when we have our team members over there and he knows that he can use those comments. Well, Kevin, maybe you need to message one of us and send over those messages. I would love to make an example out of someone because people think that we won't call out the bad behavior
oh, we
of people who claim to be awareness and doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. No. I know for a fact that Dee Dee has put some things up and said, why are we doing this?
I said it today. Kevin, do you mind getting a box series? And it's not going to be an attack. I don't attack anybody.
Nope.
Hey, checkmate. I just want to literally have a conversation. because I don't know how long you've been here or how much you've heard me say. Oh, you can't? Okay, that's fine. I don't know how much you've heard me say, but if you've been following them any length of time, you know that we've heard about their illnesses every time there is one. So why would it be this time that they would need to hide Angela's illness, especially when it is the reason they can no longer pay their expenses even though he's working? How does that make sense for you? Hold on, I think there was. Oh, Amberlynn, you still. Correct me. I just feel bad that someone is so down and out. Kevin, do you realize that they have been this way for literally 2 years? They have gotten jobs and still asked for money. See, it's one thing to be down and out. There's something else when you are perpetually down and out and you use other people's circumstances to enhance your own to get money out of people. When you owe people money, you promise to pay them back. You lie to them repeatedly about why you couldn't pay them back. And then, even after agreeing to pay them back, because you got in an argument with a third party, you still haven't paid them back. So, am I supposed to care about the beggar who borrowed money and didn't pay it back? Or for the ladies that gave of their hard earned money that put them in financial straits, that the person who didn't pay it back? See, when the stories are consistent but they don't make sense, have you ever watched Judge Judy? She says if it doesn't make sense, it's probably not true. And at my big age, I have found that to also be true. I'm sorry, Kim B. I don't know if you were asking for the box or not. Okay, I guess not. Kevin, this is, you can DM anybody, Puppy Power, Fallon, myself, anybody. But what I would love is for you to come here. You are welcome. Like I said at the beginning, nobody is obligated to agree with me. All I ask is that if we have a conversation, that it be respectful and with the understanding that we both can have space to have a differing opinion, but that I want to have a conversation where we're just talking facts rather than feelings, because that's what he does. That's what he's so good at. He's able to tap into your feelings so that your logical brain takes a back seat. I'll give you an example. And a comedian, Trevor Noah, made this joke. He said that when he came to the West and he saw the videos where people were raising money for people in Africa, they would always have flies all over them and they wouldn't even swat them away. And he said to himself, do they think our arms don't work? Like we swat them away. Like we don't just let them land on us. That's production that makes them look that way. That's not how they actually are. But you know why they do it? Because it tugs at the heartstrings. And you forget that 50% of your donation is going to administrative services and not to the children hungry in Africa. It's the same concept. They focus on pulling on your heartstrings so that by the time you use logic and reason, you've already given your money. And they don't care if you don't give it again. They'll find somebody else to give it the next time. They don't care. They also ask for money on the back end, and it's constant for people who have already given them money. They will DM and DM, and let's say somebody says, I have to look into it when I get home. Very next question, what time will you be home? They'll say around 6 o'clock. At 6:02, they'll have a text message from one of them. Have you gotten home? Have you checked? How much are you able to send? Can you send it today? And then if the person's like, listen, I just walked in the door, they'll be like, I'm not asking for an attitude. You said you would be home at 6, so I'm just asking. And you know why they put so much pressure on the people behind the scenes? Because they would love, as soon as they get the money, he'll be like, click, gone. Gone. They got the money. One of the reasons why I talk about so many people in a live and I don't just focus on one is because I'm hoping people see a pattern. They don't all do it exactly the same, but their objective, their goal, and the result is the same. And they use lying, manipulating as a way of getting money. Hold on, Kevin, I don't know how long you've been watching. I don't know if this is your first time. There are probably other new people in here as well. This is pinned to the top of my page. I call this the spectrum of scamming. And they usually start at the bottom with white lies. And then there'll be the omission of truth, like we're in now. He's gotten a paycheck, according to him. He's worked throughout the week, according to him. But we couldn't tell anybody why we couldn't pay our own hotel room week after week. And we also couldn't buy food? You mean to tell me that his paycheck last week was just $342? How are they feeding the dog? Should they have a dog if they can't even feed themselves? And then there's the dry begging. They don't even do that. They do straightforward begging. And I tell you, if I know what you need, how much you need, and where to send it, it's a straightforward beg. I know everything I need to know to get the money. Or you know everything you need to know. Then there's manipulative lying. An example is where he knows exactly who's doing the bad thing and he won't call them out. He'll just say awareness. I don't show his picture and talk about what Christina does. I leave what I'm going to talk about with Christina. The same with them. I talk about what they do, not what everybody else does. And therefore that makes them bad people. And then there's scamming, where it is deliberate, premeditated acts of deception designed to steal from or exploit others, often causing significant financial and emotional harm. He talks about how bad he feels, but negates the feelings of the women that he owes money to. Negates the feelings of the family members that had to evict them in order to get them out of a house that didn't belong to them. It's only about them. And that's it. That's exploitative. And now he's using his mental health. He's using cyber stalking. He's using all of these things. Again, why? To get you to put away your logical brain and operate solely from your feelings. That's deceptive. So, Kevin, I hope you understand that you're welcome. If you're still here, that you're welcome, and that you give me a chance to express how I feel and what I think and why I come to the conclusions. Again, you may never agree with me. Oh, right, Kevin. I don't want you to be on anybody's side. I just want you to hear the other side in a way that isn't cyberbullying, isn't stalking, isn't trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? That isn't intent on saying that they're just horrible people.
Kevin, it has been 685 days since Tim created his TikTok account, and not a day has gone by that he didn't beg, exploit, and lie for money. Angela never had cancer. She had precancerous cells. There are people out there who have had precancerous cells, had surgery, successful, but then there's also people out there whose families have been fractured because of cancer. And every single day, even though they may be in remission, they have to worry about, is today the day to go for a PET test and find out that it's back. They lie about everything, and it's documented. Please ask anybody for the proof if you need it. I get that you have a heart and you don't like to see people down and out. Tim is taking other people's stories and just incessantly talking about it for people to feel sorry for them. If you don't want to talk to any one of us, type their names in at the top of the TikTok search bar. A plethora of information comes up and you can watch it at your leisure. But then if you have questions about it, please reach out to anybody you feel comfortable with. I appreciate you guys. I think that Tim has got some people knocking at his door about possibly some fraud, about lots of questions that he's going to have to answer for. And I think he's running scared. And I hope that's the case. I hope that accountability is knocking at his door.
Oh, me too.
And we noticed that, Kevin, the trucking, and his excuses are, I don't have a CDL license. But there are people prior to you, because there's lots of truckers that go into his chat and have told him about free CDL licensing classes, schools that he could go to. But the fact still remains that Angela is a manipulative mind as much as he is, and she doesn't want to release her grip on him. And so anywhere he goes, she wants to make sure she pulls him back. And he's just lazy enough to allow somebody to hold on to him and hold him back. They're both two peas in a pod laid up in a hotel bed that don't want to do best for themselves. He's ruined his entire family and friend relationship because all he cares about is him and Angela being stuck together in that hotel bed. I'm going to drop down. Thank you guys for what you do. Thank you for the messages. Anybody out there that's sending horrible messages, please stop. It's not worth you spending your time to take time to message people with kind hearts who are asking questions and just in a chat to threaten them. If you are so obsessed with Tim and Angela, Jordan Paul, or any of the others, and you hate them, it's time to step away. We came in this to help people. And the moment that you feel that you need to threaten or hurt somebody, it's time to back away. We're here to help people only. We don't get paid for this. It's not fun. I enjoy the people that I get to interact with. I love learning all the things that we're doing. I love coming here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays and listening to Dee Dee tell us what all the things she's seen on the TikTok streets. What I don't like is the messages that I'm getting that people do say, what is going on? And then I spend more time, instead of fellowshipping, more time trying to explain why we're going at people who just strolled into the chat and didn't know better.
Right.
I'll be down in the chat. Thank you, Dee Dee, for what you do. Thank you all for what you do.
Thank you. Come on. She hasn't come in yet. Did she mean to come in? No. Does anybody else want to box about these two before I move on? I saw Puppy Power say that Jordan wants 98. She's on pretty late this morning. Because clearly she don't have nowhere to go, so why get up at the crack of dawn? Okay. Let's see the grid again. I think... Oh, wait. We do have somebody.
I just got a question. Did they ever get the money that they were asking for?
Not as far as I understand. So they'll be back on today.
I mean, because Dee Dee, they were on for 3-4 hours, and it's like, oh my god! And then they came out again.
I know, because they didn't get the money.
It's so crazy, and he always goes back to bullying. Oh, I'm being bullied. I'm being bullied. I'm bullying. He's using it. He's using it as a cross. I just wanted to know if they got the money, because yesterday was a rough day for me. But yeah. I mean, I shut the phone off. A couple hours later, I turned the phone on. He's still on.
Yeah, he was on for a very long time this weekend.
And it was really, majority of the time he was silent. It's just like, and what's funny is every time somebody goes in, well, even if it's troll, they're blocked. Even if they're not saying nothing, they're blocked.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's crazy. All right, that's all I had to say. Whoever gave me that, yeah. All right, that's all I say. Thank you for letting me up.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Who's left? Miss Sheena. No, not Josh and I did today. I think they want my attention, so why would I give it? So her and her people are on a block mission to the point where it's hurting the people who actually wanna... Wait, what did Puppy Power say? Really, Puppy Power? Well, I debunked the way they did the way they tried to use one illness in particular to explain all of her bad behavior. Because you can have a mental health diagnosis, and back in the day there was limited care, whether that be medications and therapy. But nowadays, and especially with telemedicine, which Tim claimed he never heard of, which blows my mind. As much TV as they watch, and they've never heard of telemedicine. Anyway, I didn't say it the other day, but the particular treatment for borderline personality disorder is DBT, or it's dialectical something something. Behavioral therapy. It's dialectical behavior therapy. DBT. It's different than CBT. CBT is used for like depression, PTSD, kind of like the average mental health. But when you get into personality disorders, it requires something different. And I understand when you have DBT that you see the world differently and you feel out of place because it makes sense to you when it doesn't make sense to anybody else. And so it will put you at odds with people because you believe it with all your heart. Oh, thank you. But once you're diagnosed, you then realize that some of your thinking and then therefore your behavior is out of touch with what's really going on. I use the example of feelings versus facts. If you walk by me and don't say anything, my feeling is that you're mad at me or you don't like me or you're trying to piss me off. When the fact may be that they're having a bad day and they didn't even notice me because they were so much in their head. Now, without having a conversation, both things could be true. But my feeling about it, is it substantiated by facts? Well, yesterday she called me and we were okay. And this morning she sent me a text message with kind words. So then what happened between the kindness and right now? Sheena will take her feelings and blast it all over TikTok. And the problem is because she has sycophants, they'll blast it all over TikTok and make the person feel like dirt. And when they come in and they're on 10, because what are you doing? Then it'll be like, well, you walked past me, so what was I to think? That's the difference. Stunning Sid, it is. So you don't get the excuse that you have something. And so that means that all of your behavior is acceptable. It doesn't mean that. It means now you have the information you need to find the tools you need to live a happy, healthy, full life. Having BPD doesn't mean you can't work. And what cracks me up is last night when she has to, and I believe she's reminding herself because nobody else needs this pep talk. She'll be like, I didn't get anything people weren't sending, and I'm trying to stay positive. You being positive is nobody else's responsibility but your own, especially when it comes to other people's money. It's almost like she turned off the part of her brain that recognizes that it's not monopoly money. There is no fund that people just grab money out of and give it to you. It's coming out of their bank account and going into yours. But it's like she doesn't recognize that. And so if you're not sending money, then at the very least, it's your responsibility to keep me in a positive mood. Bitch, please, how old are you? Grow up. Grow up. And just like with Christina, what happens? She drags those people through so much that they eventually get tired. Look, her other mods. I'm cool with them now. I go in there and have a funky good time. But there was a moment in time where they played my life to her because they thought I was being mean to her. Because at that, hey, Sheep Show, because at that moment, they were still caught up in what she had going on. And they felt like everybody was being mean to her, that we were picking on her. And all I'm saying is at your big age, at what point are you going to take responsibility for your words, for your behavior, for the way you treat other people? So this was the other thing she did. I don't know how many actual followers she has versus the number of people that come into her live. But the other night, they blocked somebody by mistake. And then she said to her mods, I expect you to know who follows me and who gifts me. Bitch, what? They're supposed to be that invested in your life and in your account that they're supposed to know who everybody is? I'd be a terrible mod because I'm going to recognize the names that I see all the time. If somebody's a silent watcher and they never say anything, I might not know their name. But again, nothing is her fault. She's not responsible for a single thing that happens in her life. She's not even responsible for her own 1-2 step. She's not responsible for keeping herself in a good mood. What would happen if everybody just didn't go to her live one day? If it remained at 0 all day? That's everybody else's fault? Because we know she would have the crash out of the century. And everybody on her side would say it was TikTok's fault. I promise you, if she was in any sort of therapy, even if it was CBT, they would tell her you have an unhealthy relationship with TikTok. Because there's no way other people's money should dictate your mood. You're not owed any of it. And so most of us were going to sit back and wait for these particular mods to get tired. Come on over. Come on over. Because it's getting there. Because you can do no right. Even though you do your best. You even lie for her. And pretend like the money she gave you was a bonus from your job. You are literally making a fool out of yourself for somebody that wouldn't give you $5 because she needs it. But ever the salesman, even though they've given her money all live, and of course she had to stay live because it was Reset Monday, and she was already on it. For fuck what you gave me last week. It's a new week. It might not even be payday for you, but it's a Reset Monday, so let's go. And when that wasn't flourishing the way she wanted it to, what did she turn to? I'm selling my diamond art. Yep, you have to buy it. You have to send it to me. Then you have to pay me because I'm charging you for my labor. If Sheena wasn't who she was, that might even be okay. But we know for Sheena, everything is a grift. She probably charges you enough to ship it to you too. Because Sheena's not going to be out a dime for nothing. For no one. And then she introduces new characters. I don't know who the young lady was in there last night. I don't know if that was a daughter or somebody's girlfriend. But baby girl, please stay out of Sheena's lives. Don't do it to yourself. Because she's only going to cause you a headache. You seem like a nice young lady who got something going on for herself. Stay away from Sheena's chat. It is only going to destroy your profile on TikTok or any others. Pink Panther, most of us would do it ourselves and get the enjoyment. But a lot of people do pay. It's fascinating to me what people are willing to pay for, but I'll buy a purse. Don't have an outfit for it, but I'll buy a purse. But she didn't stop there. That wasn't the end of her pitch. Then she directed them to her storefront on TikTok and talked about this flower light that she has, and she's showing them all of the colors and how often it can change colors, and like one color, next color, next color, next color. And you can go to my storefront, and I would love it if you would go there and buy it. And of course somebody was like, I bought it from you. And she's like, oh, that's where that $20 came from. I'm going to leave that there and save it. Bitch, for what? For what? What you leaving it there for? Because what? That's supposed you going to leave that $20 in there and hope it grows into something so you can put oil in your tank when it gets cold? Like, $20? You aren't there because you're her friend. You aren't there because she likes you. You're not there for her emotional, mental, or physical support. Everybody in her life is there for one reason and one reason only, and that's to give her money. She doesn't care who she disrespects, what she says, how she feels, how she makes other people feel. Nobody else matters. You know why Sheena was so stuck on the person that got blocked? Because they were a gifter. That's why she recognized them. If you weren't a gifter, she don't give a damn. And she'll be like, you don't have to gift me to be in here. Who would want to hear her berating people for not gifting when you can't gift? Like, at some point, don't you feel uncomfortable being there if you haven't gifted? If every time you turn around, she's berating people for not gifting? But the only people who get attention are the people who give. She treats her mods like dirt. And they're catching flack just for being her mod and putting up with her nonsense. Sheena thinks that she's the man. And what's so funny is I don't like battles. But I've watched people make it to A1 League and not have to try as hard as her. Cool as a cucumber. Happy for whatever they get. But not Sheena. And as long as that's her attitude, it won't matter what she does going forward. She could leave TikTok right now. But if she doesn't change who she is, how she acts, and how she treats people, she's going to be in this exact same circumstances, just with a different group of people. It could be Instagram. She could start selling Mary Kay. She could just try to join a support group. That's why her sister said the town doesn't like her. Somebody knows her, go tell her to look up DBT and get in a class immediately and take it seriously. Because that's what she needs. Because otherwise, her reasoning is never going to work for the world we live in. Never. And you want to know why she doesn't care? Because in her mind, she's getting money and they're not. So she doesn't care what they think. But money isn't everything, Sheena. Money can't buy you happiness. It can't buy you true love. It can give you the sense of happiness. It can give you the sense of love. But where you falter is that you love money. Money is your God. You love money more than anything else. And that's always going to be faulty. So I told you. Oh, no, she's married. I'm just saying that she's miserable when it comes to her kids, to her family. It's never going to be right. When you love money more than anything else. So I haven't done this in a long time. Good morning, calling, but I'm going to do it today. Which one am I going? Oh, this one. I haven't done any positive affirmations in a long time. I'm going to post it. I always say I'm going to post it and then don't, but I'm going to post this as soon as the live is over. These are some things you can say to yourself every day. I am worthy of happiness and success. I am strong, resilient, and ready to take on my day with positivity. I believe I can and I will. I am capable of really great things. I manifest abundance. Today, I will be the best version of me and love it. I let go of things that no longer serve me. Dang, they spelled it wrong. I overcome negative thoughts and move on. I attract positivity and good energy into my life. And finally, I make decisions that align with my happiness. Correct, Rochester. So screenshot it. I'm going to post it. It's important for all of us to think positively, to absorb it, to remember it. Because in the world we live in, no matter where in the world, no matter what your financial status, social status, religious status, no matter your political status, your marital status, whether you have children or not, we are all going to face a hill and a valley. And I tell you all the time, there's three things about a valley: the situation, what you did to get there, but what is the most important is what you're doing to get out. And if you can't do anything other than read affirmations while you're digging yourself out, that's better than doing nothing. So I'm going to ask you all to hug your loved ones, because tomorrow isn't promised to any of us. And I'm going to ask you to do some self-care. You can take those affirmations and read them to yourselves 3 times today, if that's all you can manage to do. That'll be less than a minute, but it'll be a moment in time where you put yourself first for less than a minute. And with that, I'm going to end the live. The May schedule is up. I will not be live Wednesday, but I will be live Friday. I'm not going live Wednesday because I plan on doing the Lighthouse with Dee Dee on Wednesday night, not during the day. I'm going to do the Lighthouse. I have something to do during the day, but I have that night, that evening, I'm going to do the Lighthouse with Dee Dee. And if you haven't followed that account, please do. There we talk about mental health. We don't talk about scammers. We talk about mental health and building ourselves up, learning some exercises that we can do, etc. So again, it's the Lighthouse with Dee Dee. And with that, Echo. Hopefully, if anybody's getting sleepy again, this will help you out. Echo, play Don't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake.
Here's Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake on Amazon Music.
Everybody have a wonderful day. If I don't see you in the streets, I'll see you Friday morning.